Rapper Big Pooh's in the building. What's happening, big fella?
Nothing much, man. How you living?
Doing good. Washington sports undefeated in the new year. What do you think about that one?
Sounds good for a change, huh?
It must be New Year's resolutions paying off because I can't remember the last time it happened.
2015, I think.
It had to have been 2015, at least for the football team.
Yeah. It's been a while, man. Just thanks to the nature of the NFC East, and the Eagles tanking yesterday, it all worked out.
We'll take it, but I'm with you. I have never seen, at least not in football, such an obvious tank job.
Nah, I mean they set the tank job up like even before the game. They was like, yeah, we're gonna get Nate Sudfeld a look. Like, listen, he's not gonna be a starter in this league.
Yeah.
I don't even think you want him coming in playing the game if he has to. But that's the way they was gonna go for it. They was going for the pick, the better draft pick, and like you said, we'll take it. I mean, I've never witnessed it, like they did it, but I take
Right.
it.
Yeah, and I've seen people say this that Jalen Hurts was not leading them to a victory either. He just obviously gave them a better chance to win that football game.
Right. Like, I mean, he only had 72 yards throwing for the game at that point. His damage was done with his 2 touchdown runs. That's, where Washington has a problem with mobile quarterbacks, like most teams have a problem with mobile quarterbacks. But that was where he was doing his damage. Whenever they got near the red zone, he was able to run and be a problem in that area because we don't have the linebackers to defend that. But that was it. Like I still didn't see them winning. It would have been way too close for comfort, but I definitely didn't see them winning. Like I text you, 2017. I was close. I was close to my prediction.
Uh-huh.
I was like 2017. Either way, that's kind of where I saw it landing.
It was funny. I must have gotten 30 score predictions yesterday, and they all pretty much were in that 3 to 7 point window somewhere. And pretty much everybody was like, I'll take Washington. But history tells me that if it's not Washington, it is what it is. So it was an odd day yesterday as far as predictions go because it felt like a coin flip, even though it should have never been a coin flip.
Never should have been. But my worry was what it came to be was Alex Smith. I didn't know how he was going to look with the calf, and then even after, obviously, I predicted before the game, but when I started seeing how he was laboring out there, you could see it on when he went to the sideline, the shots, just the walk, like he had a little limp in his step, and I knew that was going to be an issue. And once Philly started sending them blitzes up the middle, it was Rap City. Like there was no more offense at that point.
You could tell he couldn't move. I
Couldn't
mean,
move at all. Couldn't
I
move.
yelled at my wife at halftime. I said, last week I was hoping they'd have yanked Dwayne at halftime. I said, listen, Alex Smith's brain, I guess, is what they're rolling with here because it damn sure wasn't his leg because you're right. Once they sent the extra blitzer, moved him out of the pocket, he had to throw the ball away.
He had to throw the ball away. And I was out just like you. I was like, come on, we need. I hate to say we need, but we need Taylor Henneke or whatever his last name is right now. Like, at least we know it's going to be some action. But, Ron leaned on the defense as he has all year, and they came up with the necessary plays when they needed to.
It was wild. I said last week, I get the feeling that with all the defensive minded coaches and really the premier players that we have are on defense, it feels like those guys live by the idea that whatever the offense can do, that's great. We'll take it, but they know they got to win those football games.
Every week they know it's on them because it normally does come down to them. So, like I say, I think if Jalen Hurts wasn't as mobile as he was, the score wouldn't have been as close as it was. But
Yep.
that like I said, that's been their Achilles heel, as most teams been their Achilles heel, and I don't know if Tampa Bay gonna be any easier, but at least we don't have to worry about Tom Brady sprinting nowhere.
No doubt about that one. Two interesting things happened in the game yesterday. When I talked to Scott Abraham on Friday, he had reminded me Washington hadn't beaten a running quarterback yet this year. So they got that one, they barely, because they pulled him. The other thing that would have been crazy is Washington would have been the first team in NFL history to not get points on an opening drive for an entire season if they hadn't scored yesterday.
I know, and that would have been crazy. Like
Crazy.
they have, and I thought it was at first. I thought it was just like no touchdowns, but then I realized it was no points. Period.
Two points
Not a
per.
field goal, anything. So yesterday, luckily they broke. They wouldn't have been the holders of that dubious record. So at least they got something yesterday.
Hey, I thought this was interesting. Switch gears just for a second. Your stage name is actually Rapper Big Pooh, right? How did you get the rapper on the front? I mean, it seems like it was obvious, right?
Yeah, that came. I mean, in college, I had a friend, Rashawn Rucker, who uh, my freshman year they were older, and he started calling me Pooh Bear. And then, of course, Pooh Bear went to Pooh, and then it was multiple Poohs, people with the nickname Pooh on our campus. So then it went to Big Pooh. And when we formed Little Brother, that's what Ninth used to always call me, Rapper Pooh. And so that just what ended up sticking was so that's how the rapper part got inserted into the name.
Yeah. And what are you guys doing now? Because you'd usually be touring right now, right? I mean, the Rona's kind of kept y'all limited. You doing virtual stuff? I know you do some speaking and teaching engagements.
Yeah, Rona kind of shut us down. Like we were in the midst of it. We were about to start the second leg or second phase of touring for our last record we put out last year. Well, in 2019. Now it's two
The
years
Lord
ago.
Willing album.
Yeah, made a Lord watch. And
Yeah.
yeah, so that got shut down. So we just been trying to reconfigure, and we did some merchandise drops. We, got some other things we have planned, and just kind of filling out like a lot of, obviously we're not on the same status level as like a Kendrick or a Drake or whatever, but a lot of guys understood that putting an album out during this time, knocks out a lot of the opportunity you may have. So they kind of been trying to do the wait and see approach, and that's kind of how we ended up said we're going to just do for the moment is to wait and see, because a lot of what we do is predicated on being able to move freely around,
Right.
the world. So the virtual stuff we not doing. It's just for us. It's just singing with a band and doing virtual. I'll watch it any day. I don't want to. I'm not signing up to watch nobody rap on a virtual performance because the energy, like you still need, like that energy
Right.
transfer isn't there. Whereas with a band and musicians, the energy comes from within. When you're just rapping and you normally have a DJ, the energy comes from the crowd, and obviously we wouldn't have that.
Where's your favorite place to tour outside of the States?
Um, London was always crazy. Um, Paris was always, crazy. And funny enough, I went in 2019. I went to Russia for the first time,
Yeah.
and that was, I mean, the shows were phenomenal. The people are very, supportive. They're crazy. They're aggressive. They want you to stay for hours after signing pictures. I took pictures with police officers, all type of stuff when I was
Uh,
out there. So like Russia was insane.
nice. What's back to the team? What is the last time I was trying to think about this the other day that the Washington football team had players that the rest of the team or the rest of the league really wants? You know what I mean? Like when you
Uh,
Chase Young is high on everybody's list. I think a lot of those D linemen are high on other teams' wish lists. It doesn't feel like it's been that way for Washington for a while.
no, we haven't. I'm sitting here trying to think. I don't know. Other than when we had Deshaun Jackson and Pierre Garcon,
Yeah.
obviously teams wanted them because they went elsewhere when their deals were up. Uh, I don't know. That's all I can think of. I know they wanted nobody we had on defense for a long time. um, and then
Made
offense
you think
once
that it was historically bad defense just 3 years ago.
right, right. So yeah, this is the first time where I think we have young players. First time in a long time where we have young players. So between that D line, um, and then if you switch to the offense, Terry McLaurin, we've shown what Logan Thomas is really capable of as a full-time tight end.
Yeah.
So I
That
know
touchdown, that touchdown catch was crazy. His hands
that
were
was
crazy.
crazy.
No way I thought he had pulled that thing down.
No, I was like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm glad you did that. Like it was one of those things. But yeah, and I think I mean, of course, we had a lot. We had Trent Williams here for a while, and people wanted him, and but yeah, I think this is the first time in a while that we've had multiple players that other teams would love to have on their team.
The other thing that really probably won't get talked enough about until the season is over is just how remarkable the front office did with free agency this year. I mean, Cornelius Lucas graded out in the top half for tackles this year. Wes Schweitzer graded out their top half of guards this year. You have Kevin Pierre Lewis played well for a while. And then the draft, Cam Curl has been incredible this year.
Yeah, surprisingly, Kyle Smith, I believe that's his name. Kyle Smith
Yep.
has done a wonderful job the last few years with drafting when he's been able to pick his guys. He's done a phenomenal job. And then this year, being able to be in charge of, helping with bringing in free agents as well. And he identified exactly what we needed or what we needed at the time. And I think he's done a phenomenal job. And I hope that, he stays around and he doesn't, he doesn't he doesn't take an opportunity elsewhere because
Me too.
his
And it's
picks
odd
have
because
turned his team around.
they have. And it's odd because there's a whole lot of talk. I don't know if you've seen it or not, that Washington's going to hire a general manager and kind of not promote Kyle Smith, which I hope is not the way it ends up, because I'm with you. The whole reason the team's stacked right now, supposedly, is because of the job Kyle Smith's done with the drafting and the free agency.
Right. So I mean, I don't know, it's always something funky going on with this organization in the front office. So I hope this isn't part of the funkiness going on because
I know.
to lose him, that defensive front, that's Kyle Smith. you know.
It is.
Uh, Terry McLaurin in the third, that's Kyle Smith. That's so all of the different players he's brought in, man, it would be unfortunate if unless there's some agreement in place where it's like, listen, okay, you're not officially the GM, but look, you still gonna be doing your thing and you're gonna be making recommendations. I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna work. I just hope we don't lose him.
I'm with you.
He's
I'm
been
with you.
fantastic. And this has been the first year where we've gotten free agents and they've actually contributed positively to
Yes,
the
they're going to have to
team.
give Darby another contract. He's been great.
He's been great. Like you don't even hear his name called over there. He's been that great. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So just Darby, like you said, Kevin Pierre Lewis. I was like, what are they doing starting him? But between him and when what's his name, 55, the second
Holcomb.
year Holcomb, when he
Yeah.
got back in, that changed the dynamics of the
Yes, it did.
linebacking unit. And so his free agent acquisitions just really they made differences. They weren't going crazy, putting up gaudy numbers, but they were very smart and very, frugal but smart acquisitions, and they all contributed.
McKissick's another one of those guys. He's faster than I realized. He's
Yeah,
fast.
yeah. McKissick he's very fast, very quick, very twitchy. He can actually bang between the tackles. You just don't want him doing it, 30 times a game. But
Yep.
he very important to the success of this team, especially with Alex Smith in there, because he's they call him the check down king, but he's going to always take the available play over, typically the available play over making the flashy play, and that's why McKissick has what 80 something receptions this year.
Yeah, he's got a lot. He's got a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting that those two have been really good together. The other pair they've put together is Montez Sweat and Chase Young. Well, I know that they are salty on what happened with their first round pick last year, but moving back up to pick Montez Sweat seems like a no brainer at this point.
yeah. I mean, obviously, if that's who they wanted to pick at 15 to begin with,
That's right.
so Snyder and Allen got involved. So moving back up to get the guy that they wanted all along ended up probably being the smartest thing they've done, because, when Matt Ioannidis gets back, that front four, then you add in Tim Settle, you add in Matt Ioannidis. I like the flashes I saw from the rookie from NC State they had this year, number 96, can't remember his name,
Smith
and
Williams.
Smith Williams. So I believe, if they get the linebacking unit right, I
Yep.
think the defense has way more room to improve. Cameron Curl has proved he needs to be in the lineup. I actually like Jeremy Reeves back there,
I do
personally.
too.
I know they're not going to do it, but Landon Collins need to be playing linebacker somewhere.
I
Um,
agree. It'll be interesting. I've said this a couple of times now. Landon Collins, when asked before, has been on record saying that was not something he was interested in doing. But he's already gotten paid now. The money's all there. So I wonder if he'd be a little more interested in moving, because you're right. I think Will linebacker in this system is probably what he's better at. Yeah. As far as Smith Williams goes, I know you're down here in the Carolinas. The NC State folks were high on him, right? He's a big, strong, fast guy that I think just was hurt a bunch in college at NC State.
yeah, that's what the word was. So I was interested in seeing him when he got out there, and obviously with the front four we have, he doesn't get a lot of time, but he definitely, I think, seeing field this season allowed him, to get some reps and to see some things, and
Yeah, because he
obviously when
got a
you
bunch of reps yesterday. I saw him.
yeah, he got a bunch of reps yesterday. And it's going to be reps to be had. Kerrigan, I know he wants to finish his career out as a Washington football team member, but that's going to depend on the number. Then of course, well, he probably won't be on the team next year. The other kid from Alabama, I can't remember his name. Jesus,
The
Anderson,
lot,
Anderson.
yeah, Anderson
Ryan
will be gone.
Anderson. Yeah,
Yeah,
he'll be gone. So there'll be reps to have. There'll be reps to get. And
yeah.
I think he got good experience inside and outside this year.
It'll be interesting, and we won't look too far ahead, but it'll be interesting to see what they do with that D line, because you're right. Ioannidis, good forget about, and he's back. They won't be able to pay all of them. They got Allen, Payne, Settle, Ioannidis, Smith Williams. They've got they
Oh
got an
yeah.
abundance of riches there.
They're gonna have to start figuring some things out this off season on how to because of they all basically came a year after each other. Like, you have really no
Right.
breathing room. Every
Yeah.
year you're gonna have to figure out who to extend, and who you can let go, and things of that nature. So it's gonna be interesting, when that time comes, how they're gonna approach that.
Have you copped any new Washington football team merch?
I have not. I mean, I only have one old relic Washington Redskin jersey in my closet. Other than that, I did have a towel. I got to dig it out. I had a towel from when Sean Taylor passed. That's the only Washington game I've ever attended.
Is that
Was the
right?
game after he passed, because I had a friend that had played for the Buffalo Bills at the time. That's who they played, and he got me tickets to the game. So, um, yeah, so I have that, but that's all I have. I'm not really. That's my team. I know all about them. I live and die by them, but
Yeah.
I am not the merch buying guy.
Yeah. Right. What were your thoughts when you heard they shipped John Wall for Westbrook?
Um,
Because I know just as big as a Washington football team fan, I know you're huge into the Wizards.
Definitely. For me, I spoke about this with my guy Troy Halliburton. He covers the Wizards,
Mhm.
and I told him, I said, I think the biggest thing is John Wall, what he meant to the city, in the team. Like, you would have never thought that he wasn't from the area, the way he represented that franchise in that city. And I think that's the thing that hurts the most in the trade is knowing what he meant, knowing his jersey is going to be in the rafters at some point when his career ends, but just knowing what he meant to that city and that franchise, especially coming off the Gilbert Arenas, era with the guns and all that. But I thought that it was pretty close to even, not necessarily even, but a pretty even swap on the floor. But I think the big difference Russell will make with this team and how young they are is his leadership abilities. And for everything I loved about John Wall, that's not the thing that I I you could tell there was a lack of leadership on that team when he
Yep.
was on it once Paul Pierce left. So I think that's the biggest thing Russell is going to bring to this team, that's what we have to, his game is his game at this point. I still don't think he's fully recovered from that quad injury he suffered right before the bubble last year. That can explain, because he had that explosion right into the shutdown. Now all of a sudden he don't have it, and I think that's
Right.
a result of that quad injury. But he's Russell is Russell. He's going to do very well for you, and he's going to make some plays where you scratch your head like, what are you doing? But I just see the way he interacts with the younger guys, the way he instructs the younger guys, and that's able to take a lot off Brad Beal's shoulder, and he can really go out there and focus on being the monster he's become on the court. And so, once again, I hate to see John go. I love that he's thriving down in Houston, and I hope he gets back to his All NBA form. But I'm not upset at what we have. I think it's going to be, in the long run, that trade is going to turn out to work in the Wizards' advantage if they can get a head coach in there that knows what they're doing.
Uh-oh, that sounds like a whole different segment right there.
Yeah, I'm not a Scott Brooks fan.
I'm not either.
Yeah, I don't like his rotations. I don't like his lack of adjustment, in-game adjustments, and his. I would prefer a coach that, at this point, I think they need a coach that focuses on the defensive side of the ball. Because I think with these guys, the offense is going to come naturally. I think they can put up 110 points, like, with their eyes closed. But
Yep.
it's on the other end of the court that they struggle, and they need somebody that's really like a Nate McMillan or somebody of that ilk that really hammers home the defensive side of the ball, and then let them go do what they need to do on the offensive side.
How crazy is it to think that Bradley Beal is still not fully appreciated in the league?
That's because can't nobody see him. They don't get national TV game. Because the same thing
Yeah.
happened to John.
Right.
The Wizards weren't on national TV, so most of the nation didn't get to see how, phenomenal he was, in his prime. And it's the same with Brad now. Like, as phenomenal as he is, if you not intentionally wanting to watch Wizard games, or last night they were on NBA TV, but other than that, if you're not intentionally setting out to watch a Wizard game, you will have no idea how good Bradley Beal is. And now he's starting to actually play defense. After them first 5 games, he knows he got to play defense. So he's becoming even more of a monster because he's doing it on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. Well, big fella, 2020 NFC East champs. When we talked after the Ravens game, I don't think we'd be sitting here celebrating a victory Monday with a playoff game. Any chance they can shock the world next Sunday or Saturday? I guess it's the Saturday game.
Saturday night. I think there is. I think they showed that in the Pittsburgh game. Now, granted, Pittsburgh has definitely taken a mighty fall from their 11-0 start, but I think they can. I think it's just going to come down to offensive efficiency, and by that I mean holding the ball, actually getting the running game going, but defensively, I think they can hold them. I think because of our front four and the fact that Tom Brady is not a mobile quarterback, we have a shot. And he's
I
not
agree
as
with you.
strong as a Ben Roethlisberger, so he's going to be a lot easier to bring down if our front four can get penetration or if we do some timely blitzing. So I think the defense will keep us in the game. It's going to come down to the offense being able to hold up their end of the bargain.
Big Pooh, I appreciate you. We'll get you back on for some more basketball talk down the road.
No problem, man. I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, bud.
All right.